welcome back to StrangeCast, Play One vs. World's Life is Strange podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adnan. My co-host Adam is here. Adam, you here?
I am here. I am present. Here I am.
Yes, here you are. Episode 49.
Yeah, almost
one
there.
more. Well, technically, we have done 50 episodes because obviously the Jonathan Panetta episode was 2 episodes, but
Yes.
I consider this as just the
the main line, not the spin-offs.
The mainline episodes. But yeah, we're on episode 49, so obviously very close to a milestone for us. But either way, as I said, always, if you are new here, do please consider dropping us a subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, share with your friends, help support the channel more than anything else. And also, StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. So we're available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify with a video version. We're on all of them. So do check us out on there. Just as well, for everyone as well, FYI, we did drop an Oxenfree 2 review and a spoiler cast on the YouTube channel. I've always said that this to people that, you know, we don't always post just StrangeCast episodes. There are Life After Strange. There's also other stuff we do. But me and Adam sat down and did a review on Oxenfree and a spoiler cast. So if you have got time, do go and check that out. If you like Oxenfree, it's good. Adam, you really enjoyed that episode, didn't you?
I did. I got to geek out about Scientific's music and also the game. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Oxenfree, and you get to hear my thoughts on Oxenfree too.
Exactly. So, as I said, do check that out. It's on the YouTube channel. But obviously, in the thumbnail for this as well, and we spoke about in the last episode, we were talking about a Life is Strange community event that happened called 6 Years After, and also someone who was part of it and played a big part of it, and also a StrangeCast listener, Life is Strange fan. As we know him on YouTube as Dreamwalker, we know him on Twitter as Dream Prism. Alex himself is going to be on this episode. So we are going to have our main topic revolving around our conversation with him about 6 years after, Life is Strange 2 in general, and also Don't Know Montreal stuff as well. So do definitely check that out. It's well worth interesting and spoiler free as well. It's great because we already recorded it. We're now recording this as the second part. But as was said, before we even get into the conversation with Alex as well, we got a lot of news here, Adam, actually, surprisingly. And would StrangeCast even exist without this first piece of news? Because it is a fan favorite classic.
Yes.
So I will kick this off on the Life is Strange Twitter page. 18th of July, they tweeted, "We have continued work fixing issues in new patches for Life is Strange Remastered Collection, which are now available for PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. For patch notes, please follow this link onto the Square Enix website." I've got that open, which says Deck 9 Games and Square Enix have continued work on fixing some issues in a new patch for the Life is Strange Remastered Collection, which is now available for PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. We thank you for your patience and for any reports you have sent to us in, helping us to identify these issues. So before Storm Remastered, fixes for the following identified issues, which includes closed names disappearing after selecting bonus outfits, audio issues in the drama lab, console buttons adjusting screen size, characters appearing darker in some areas, Max's head animation bug when talking, audio issues transitioning in Awake's epilogue, hospital ending cinematic, crashing during loading between Blackwell campus and drama lab, direction of Chloe's eyes in farewell episode, various clippings.
Direction of her eyes.
Oh man, I'm just trying to fire these off as well, because how many there are. Direction of various clippings with Max in the attic of farewell, high resolution mode crashing in episode 1. Then onto Life is Strange Remastered. Issues that have been fixed include Max teleporting after pushing Motor off the edge of the platform, Z fighting on posters in Dana's room, volume being too quiet between William and Max in episode 3, direction hard to see while focusing in art gallery, hang occurs in nightmare sequence, moving to dark room, lighting issue with lag in nightmare sequence. So yes, more patches. We are now currently 2023 on from the Life is Strange Remaster Collection, and this game is still getting patched. On top of that, Adam actually opened the games on his console to do a bit more due diligence, and I believe you found out sizes of those files as well, updating wise.
Let me bring up the pictures again, because I forget. I'm pretty sure the first Life is Strange game. Oh, I thumbs up something from you. I remember the first game got like a 7 gigabytes updates. Or did it? I don't know. Okay, I can't find the pictures. But
I think you did it on
Point being
Twitter,
is
by the
that
way.
the first game, Life is Strange 1, got like a 7 gigabytes, or maybe I shared it to you on Twitter. It got like a 7
The
gigabytes.
first Life is Strange, I got your pictures here, was a
Okay.
9 gigabyte download on the Xbox, and then Before the Storm remastered was
Yes.
22 gigabytes.
Just for the update. 22. I'm like looking at it here. Yeah, like it was 22.6 gigabytes on the Xbox, which you can't see that on. There we go. That was the picture I sent him. I was like, are you actually kidding me? That was a 22 gigabyte update to update. It's just, it's so wacky, dude.
Shocking.
It's,
Like this
yeah.
game is on sale, by the way, as well. I know that Life is Strange tweeted about it being on sale on Steam. I wouldn't pick it up with a
Shocker.
60% discount. I'd pick it up with like a 90% discount. They have
Yeah.
really like I gave them the benefit of the doubt at first, but like as I said now, my attitude has changed on a lot of things, including the fact that I'm not a fan of these publishers now publishing games and then implementing 600 patches post release to fix something.
Yeah.
I'm just not keen on that. It's just a really bad kind of like way of having developed games
And
now.
I'll say this, I actually preferred my experience on Switch. Like I preferred it on Switch. I haven't played it with my new Switch, which is the I have the OLED now, like I have an OLED Switch.
Ooh.
Um so I played it on the Switch Lights, and I actually preferred my playthrough on the Switch rather than my Xbox, and I can imagine that me playing it on an OLED screen, I'll prefer that. But
Mhm.
notice that like this patch note said like it's now available for PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. It doesn't have any patches for Switch. And I'll be honest with you, when I played on Switch, I didn't really experience that many bugs. Excuse me. It just played like a normal game patched through a Switch. You
Mhm.
know, like I had
But
no audio glitches. I had no real problems. I preferred it on the Switch, to be honest with you.
came out after though, didn't it? After the
Yeah, it
Xbox and
did. It came
PlayStation
out like
ones.
like 5 months
So they
after.
probably fixed a couple of the issues straight away, like
Yeah.
when they spotted
But like
it.
they're still fixing it, which is crazy to me. It's just like you're still fixing this game, dude. That was supposed to be like it's supposed to be just like a quick like put through and like let's update this a little bit. Like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster like was the best remaster I played in a very long time. And
Mhm.
I didn't experience anything. It came out perfect. Like but this game it just for some reason it just can't. And the crazy part about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster was that it used the original source code. So it's
Yeah.
not like they rebuilt this game. They used the original source code of the original games, you know.
Mhm.
Um so it's not like they did a whole rehaul. They got the source code and just made it better. Like I don't know. Maybe
It's,
it's because they had Activision money, but it's still just like it's wild to me.
your boy Philly will be running that soon. Don't worry about that.
I'm gonna get my Tony Hawk's Underground remaster, dude. I'm gonna get it.
But I think that what you said there is different, though, because like when Activision remastered those games, they put a lot of time towards it because they're cult
Mm-hmm.
classics and they knew how they were addressing it. The problem is with the industry, and I've said this now, it's almost like remake bonanza, and it's also like remaster bonanza. So things that don't need remastering get remastered for whatever reason, money essentially, i.e., and then
Yeah.
remakes also get remastered, remakes get remade because well they can get money from them as well, and they can also just they
Mm-hmm.
already have like the foundations for like great stories, great everything else, so they only need to do fine tweaks with it. The problem is that there's no quality assurance on it then, so you start seeing stuff like this come out. So for example, and it's not even just picking on Square Enix either. This because like
Yeah.
Life is Strange was like had a lot of issues here, but the same happened with Rockstar and the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. There was like plagued the minute that they started remastering it because you're updating resolutions, but all these other things start changing in the source codes. Deck Nine
Mm-hmm.
is remastering Life is Strange 1. It was a different team making it. Don't made that. So it's like all the effects that are going to happen from it, they're not necessarily aware if they start updating resolutions and stuff, if something else is going to break in the game. It's not as easy as just like tweaking little things here and there. So that's the issue of it. And it's like the problems with the remaster collection. It's like left a massive like the great things was that the fact that they got audio syncing done properly in terms of lip syncing because they were able to do
Yes.
facial capture of it. But after that, there's not really huge positives with Life is Strange remastered and Before Storm remastered.
No.
When you see
I'm
like
just like
loads of bugs and stuff, it's like, hang on a minute. It's like how is this not being picked up earlier? How is this even
That's why
allowed to be
I'm
shipped?
looking at these like patch notes, and like I said, like the direction of Chloe's eyes in Farewell. I'm just like, are you actually kidding me right now?
Yeah,
Uh but yeah, it's wild to me, man.
yeah,
It's
it's
absolutely wild.
yeah, it's crazy that like I kind of like use it as a kind of a novelty gag now almost on StrangeCast, but I bring it in because it's like, oh, it's getting patched, oh, it's getting fixed, oh, it's getting this, and it's like, it's like, come on, man, it's like it could have been a great experience and could have been like just that extra little like cherry in the icing for people. Like if
But
anything,
like
they
I
should.
said, I personally enjoyed it on Switch. If you have it on, if you have a Switch and
Yeah,
you want to pick up this game, I recommend getting it on Switch. If you absolutely want to like just experience the remaster, like no choices, wait for on sale on the eShop. Like that's my recommendation in my opinion. Because I preferred it on the Switch.
yeah, no, I completely understand that, and I
Mm-hmm.
completely agree as well. It's better to have Life is Strange on the go as well, and it feels like it's got a better fidelity and etc. on the Switch. So do pick up on that. I don't really have much else to say because obviously it's just like this remastered
Yeah.
collection is patch notes, and there you go. Go and check it out if you want to.
Yeah, it's not anything to say about it. It's just we can't believe it's still a news
It's still
piece.
getting patched. It's 2023, man. It's like the
And
estimation.
when
Like
was this
what
game released
was
originally?
it? Not 2021, 2020?
Let me just
I
look
think
it
it was
up.
2021. It came out. It was delayed because it was meant to come out with True Colors, and it got delayed, and it kind of like became even.
It can't.
Was it February
No, not the.
2021
Yeah. Sorry, it just said.
or
Yeah, it just
2022?
said the original one. Hang on a minute.
Being caught out here. Who I think it might be in 2022 actually, but that might
Yeah,
be a
I
bit
just
later.
can't. Come on, just tell me the actual date. And I was just saying, like, before the storm came out in 2017. Like, I understand that. Let me
It's
just go
falling
on the
apart here.
actual. Yeah, before the storm remastered. Come on, give me some details here. Oh, okay. No. Okay, I can't find the
I have it
release
here.
date. Oh, you do? Good.
Yeah, it's the 1st of February 2022.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Okay. Yeah.
2021 True Colors came out in September, I think. 2021 September, and it was meant
So
to
it's
be released with at the
been well
time.
over a year at this point.
Yeah, well
Well
over a
over a
year.
year of this release date, and it's just like you
Still getting
can't even get
patches.
the direction of Chloe's eyes. It's just video games are impossible to make. But this is wild. This is absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's not a good sight. Like I'm kind of even saying like we might even see a patch in 2024 at this rate, which is not a good thing. A look for Square Enix, and as I said, it's not the best. They could have just ported the games. They were that keen on it. Just port it over.
Yes.
Like Life is Strange 2 was done on the Switch, or better yet, here's a better idea because we're coming up to it anyway. Just wait the 10-year anniversary and do Life is Strange Remastered Collection, or do the Life is Strange Arcadia Bay Collection.
Yeah. Arcade Bay. Yeah.
Oh, they did the Arcadia Bay Collection, didn't they? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
Philly
that's what I
cheese
mean. It's
royalties.
like I said, I'm just gonna say this: get it on Switch. If you're gonna get it on the Switch. That's just my opinion. So
Yeah, I will second that. Having not played it, but I take your opinion on that. Second that. But Adam, should we move into the next piece of news?
yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different piece of news, a bit of an interesting one. Kind of flew on the radar, and I just caught it. So this is from the Hometown Pages. I just found this on July 18th, 2023. And they put as a title, Online Multiplayer Third-Person Adventure Game Market 2023 Trends with Analysis on Key Players, No Code, Don't Nod, and Frictional Games. So we'll go all the way into it, but they put in the press release from 2023 to 2031. The study provides a complete analysis and prediction for the global online multiplayer third-person adventure game market on a
Can I point
global
out
and
something
regional
here?
scale. Oh, yes.
Do you see how they spelled "don't nod" in the article?
Yeah, it's made me angry. This makes me angry.
Angry.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for that. You spell it right, man. Come on. Anyway, so we've got the no, we're not doing that. The report provides historical revenue in US dollars, millions, data from 2023 to 2031, as well as an estimate for 2023 to 2031. The report provides a comprehensive overview of the market, including a study of market drivers, restraints, and opportunities. It also forecasts the impact of drivers and restraints on the online multiplayer third-person adventure game market between 2023 and 2031. So it says here the study provides thorough information on all of the industry's leading companies, such as company overviews, market shares, recent developments, business strategies, and financial performance. Each company's report will also include a comprehensive product portfolio as well as detailed descriptions and attributes. The study also contains useful tips for both experience in new gamers globally. Now, you might be wondering why we're talking about this, because here's the part. Key players in the online multiplayer third-person adventure game market: No Code, Don't Nod, Frictional Games, Freebird Games, Campo Studio, Fulbright, Activision, Infocom, Infinite Fall, Adlan Software, Telltale Games, Activision again.
Activision again. They're so big that they're listed twice. I noticed that too. I was like, what?
Yeah. All right. And Tekla. So basically what we're saying here is the study is that Donut has made its way into very big territory here with some of these people, especially Activision, who has been named twice as well, as you can see how big they are. But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting because obviously we've spoken for lengths in the last couple of episodes about Donut, the direction it takes and everything else. And this seems to be like part of their, because if we were talking about the pipeline of games that are coming out, I find it quite interesting that they're in online multiplayer, which is kind of I don't think they've ever released a multiplayer game, really.
No, and that's what's getting me. It's like online multiplayer third-person action game. Is this kind of like, did they kind of out like a game that they're in development of?
I don't know why it refers to it that, unless it's referring online multiplayer in a different sense. I don't know.
Do you think they maybe mean like Banishers is going to have like a multiplayer, almost like what Elder Scrolls has, where you can call the people to be your ghosts?
Perhaps, or maybe Donut is working on something internally as well.
Yeah,
there have been like other projects and stuff we talked about in the past, which seem to allude to something completely different. So it wouldn't surprise me if that is something that's factored in. So yeah, maybe what you're saying is right as well with that.
Yeah.
The press release isn't the study in the press release doesn't give like loads of other stuff in terms of the article I'm looking at right now. It gives you other little details in terms of the year groups it applies. But I find it quite interesting the way that they've put Don't Nod in here, but also the fact that, as I said, we're going to now see where Don't Nod goes for the next 10 years, because they had that really brief period since Twin Mirror where nothing was released. Then they did the rebrand, they did the portfolio of games that are in the works, they're now publishing games from other studios. So it does seem like Don't Nod is quietly creeping its way into a position where it wants to be a player in the market. And that has always seems to be a position that it doesn't surprise me that they try to get into that. But I just find it quite interesting that in the group of people that's in there with, for example, Activision is very much well known for key online multiplayer games as well. Diablo is massive, and same with Call of Duty, massive market shares that it takes. So nonetheless,
yeah, no, it's this is a wild thing to think about. Like you said, there's a lot of potential coming from this, but it could have been just like we might know something new about a game we don't know about. So it could be that remember how we said that the new Don't Know Montreal game is going to be 2 players? And it's going to be an action game. We're going to see an action game from Luke and Michelle. It's going to be like instead of cutting through time, you cut through people.
Action adventure game. Yeah, it'd be very different from the style of it. I think maybe it's referring to because in itself the report you have to buy it, and I ain't buying that to be honest as well. But maybe they do have something in the pipeline which is going to be multiplayer reference. Maybe they're projecting that. Don't know. It could be a multiplayer studio kind of going forward where it has some influence in it. Who knows? But either way, interesting nonetheless. Do you have anything else, Adam?
No, I do not. Other than congratulations Activision for getting named twice.
Indeed, yeah, big score for Activision there.
Big score. They needed this score. They're really falling behind here in the games industry.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the other piece of news, and I'm trying to keep my AirPods in. They've fallen out again this episode. That's 2 in a row that they've fallen out.
Dang.
So we will now move into our other piece of news, which is still Don't Nod, and a bit more details, which is that Banishers Ghosts of New Eden is coming to Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and Steam on November 7th. So we have an official release date. We have a reveal trailer with it.
Where's my Switch release date?
Yeah, it's not going to happen, that, unfortunately. So we now have an official release date. We were speaking about this a couple episodes prior, thinking that potentially this could get delayed. It just seems to kind of be a little bit like we had a release window, but we have now official definitive release window, release date of November 7th. So very much in time for the festive season. Adam, I think this is going to be a big one for Don't Nod. This is the first real test since Vampire, essentially, with a publisher.
Yes.
And I think like they're probably... No?
I'm just looking up when Spider-Man 2 is supposed to come out October 20th. So this is coming out how many weeks after that game?
2 weeks?
Let's see.
Maybe?
Yeah, about 2 weeks. So October 20th is on a Friday. Oh, it's coming out. So over 3 weeks after Spider-Man 2.
Oh,
so it's given itself a good amount of time.
Yeah.
For a game like Spider-Man 2, which is going to be like a 30-hour experience, people are still going to be talking about it by the time Banishers comes out. But even Starfield, it's weird how like pumped I used to be for Starfield, and now I'm like, I forget. And Starfield comes out September 6th, so it comes out 2 months after Starfield. So it's given itself a good amount of time to kind of breathe. You know, because 2 months after Starfield, I think people are going to forget about Starfield real quick. I'm sorry. It's just like, I don't think it's going to be the phenomenon that Skyrim was. Like, I think Starfield's just going to be, because it's Xbox like exclusive. So I think, and this is all tying back to Banishers, by the way. Don't worry about yourself. Because it's going to be an Xbox exclusive and it's going to be a very niche, spacey title. I think by November 7th, like, it's going to be not as talked about. Spider-Man, 30-hour experience. People are going to love it, but over 3 weeks, I think I think November 7th is probably their best bet, honestly. Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. When you said phenomenon thing as well, that's true as well, because like last phenomenon that I can think of is Fortnite.
Oh, last phenomenon I can think of is Elden Ring. Remember how many people were talking about Elden Ring?
Yeah, but are they still talking about it though?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Elden Ring came out when Ollie Ollie World, and people are still talking about Ollie Ollie World. Don't worry, Ollie Ollie World is still relevant to this day. At Adnan, it's still relevant. Please don't take this away from me.
Ollie Ollie, oh man, oh god.
But like, yeah, the last, like you said, phenomenon was probably Fortnite.
Yeah,
because Skyrim was that kind of phenomenon. You know. But I don't think Starfield is going to be, unfortunately for the developers who have been putting their time and energy into this game, I don't think a new IP, it might have a resurgence in 2024, but like, I don't think it's going to be as big as Skyrim was.
No,
but
it's not.
No, and that's what I mean. It's a good date. November 7th is a good date for this game to like get its own limelight. Because like, how many games are coming out in November, December? You know, not much. You know,
no, like they have obviously the benefits like nothing big is coming out like this year in terms of like Grand Theft Auto. Like obviously, as I said before, when that game gets announced, its release date gets announced, all the publishers are going to move their release windows. They're not going to even go anywhere near it. But like as you said, November 7th seems quite nice for them to get this game out there, because this is a big project for them in terms of the work that they're doing with Focus, because Focus is publishing it. And obviously Vampire was a success for them. Royalties kind of continued to come through with that game. For Don't Nod, they're going to want to see success in this game, i.e. like similar to Vampire, if not bigger, because the project seems good. And I think like because of how much time it's an action RPG game, so it's like I think you kind of want people to spend a lot of time with it. So I think like people will be vested in it. But nonetheless, it does seem interesting though for like a Don't Know game. Like it seems like something I'm actually kind of like a little bit, thinking about actually even picking up. It seems like, and on top of that as well, it's being released on current gen consoles as well. I'm like so thankful that we're leaving behind the other generation of consoles now.
Yeah,
it's like it's been long overdue. That I thought that they Don't Know would keep developing games for both generation systems, but it seems at the minute that they're just going straight onto the current gen consoles, which I'm like, finally, about time. They've been out for years now. So it's like, well, we'll see quite like a spectacle, I imagine, from the game. The game looks good from so far, and even the review trailer looked really, really good as well.
Also, want to point out that there are 2 games coming out October 20th. 2 big games. There's Spider-Man 2 and Super Mario Wonder, where he turns into an elephant. Yeah, I know. Like, so Banishers might have its money really put into his mouth. Wonder is going to take the world, dude.
Mhm.
Like you can take certain mushrooms and see different things in the world. I mean, in a Mario game, come on now. But yeah, no, I think that's probably going to be the best release date for it. Because it's right before Christmas too. Like you're going to forget about it by Christmas, and like money's going to be spent. But yeah, good dates, good dates.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Keep up to date with Banishers. I'll feel it out towards when I get there because obviously it's going to be expensive. Spider-Man's coming out, etc. So let's see how we go from there. Right, Adam, should we move into our next piece of news?
For sure.
Okay, so quick piece of news that we have here, which is that Gerda is back in the news. So we have it winning. So Gerda, Flame in Winter by Bird Island Games, formerly a Portal Play as we know them. They have won for best narrative game in which was it the G4C Award?
Games for Change, yes.
For Games for Change, yeah. So they won an award there. Best narrative game. Adam, have you played Gerda?
I still haven't.
Why haven't you played Gerda?
I got laid off and I've been trying to recover mentally, and I haven't been playing new games, so I've been just playing Breath of the Wild to recover mentally.
Not good enough. Not good enough, sir.
No, it's just like I tell people all the time, man. It's just like if I had some PTO, I would not go on vacation. I would just play games for a week, just playing video games. Like that's what I would do. That would be my staycation, playing all the video games I've missed out on. Gerda would be one of them. But the restaurant industry doesn't offer PTO. So there's that. Well, if they do offer PTO, it's the crappiest PTO. But God bless restaurant industries.
Yeah. So either way, I haven't played it yet. I am hoping to play it this year at some point. It's on my list of games that I'm going to try and get to. It just seems like I don't have time. It's so annoying. I just don't have time, man. So where do I get time from, man? I wish I was like 10 years younger at this point. It's just difficult picking games to play out and like having a remote bit of time to actually play it. But it is one of the games I want to play because I'm always been interested in history.
Because like they keep like coming in with bangers. I believe Limited Run is coming out with a physical edition. Is it Limited Run?
Indeed. We discussed it in our last episode, which people should check out.
I was about to say, I couldn't remember which company did it. I couldn't remember if it was Limited Run or Super Rare.
I think it's Limited Run.
Yeah. But Limited Run's coming out with the physical edition, and now it's won Best Narrative. And I'm so bad that I haven't played it yet. And I'm just like, but yeah, no, it's awesome. It's just really good to see for a studio like Bird Island and for Don't Nod to be, part of the publishing team, that they get this honor of winning best narrative game. So it's wild to think about. So I'm definitely going to pick it up soon. I will keep an eye out. For it. I promise. I promise you, Don't Nod.
I think you should definitely keep an eye out for the sale because it will be a game I play this year because I love my World War II history. It's a different perspective of World War II, which is like it's sometimes like easy to kind of forget like how big that conflict was in terms of like all the different perspectives you can watch it from. This is very much from a Scandinavian perspective, which is in itself really cool to see in terms of like in a storytelling experience. But nonetheless, to win it in a category for best narrative and like an award ceremony for like Games for Change, it does say a lot about something like this, and it kind of does strike those kind of tones I expect from a game like that. So I'm fully for Gerda at some point. I might even pick up the physical edition. I've been thinking about it, and I've even been thinking about potentially getting a Switch again because I want like a portable system that I can play games like Oxenfree, Gerda. I miss it now, and I'm kind of like thinking like maybe I should just invest in one and have a handheld.
I've been playing more Switch than my Xbox, to be honest with you. I don't know what it is. I just like the Switch better.
Yeah, do you know what? I think it's a scary thought though, because I've recently been playing my PlayStation. I don't play it anywhere near as much anymore. And I'm like, maybe I need to just get the handheld because I probably think I'll switch that and have more time with it. But nonetheless, congratulations to Bird Island Game, to Don't Nod for another successful strike there. Hopefully, you know what? As well as on top of this conversation, I hope we see more stuff like this from Don't Nod. Like, I really hope that they keep continuing publishing games in this vein as well.
Oh, that's right. No, I just remembered. No, we talked about. I remember why I couldn't pick up the physical edition because it's only coming out in the EU. It's not coming out in North America.
Yes.
So dumb. And you get the bookmark. You get the bookmark.
Exactly. We get the bookmark. We get the bookmark. You do not get the bookmark.
I remember there was a problem, and I couldn't remember what the problem was, and that's the problem. This is why I should leave America and just move to Denmark. Like, I should just go and do it. Duh. Anyways, God bless America.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, should we move into our final piece of news?
Yes, we should.
Okay, so this is a bit more of a meteor one that's come out, obviously. So we're going to kick things off with the true achievements, which is that the Expanse Telltale series Xbox achievements have arrived from deep space in the title.
Xbox.
So, yes, achievements and trophies.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sean Carey put, it's been 5 years since a new Telltale game hit the shelves, but next week that all changes with the Expanse Telltale series, which launches up for Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One on July 27th, obviously PlayStation, other consoles as well. So on here, they've posted the achievements. I'm not going to go into the full detail of it because I don't want to do spoilers for anyone, and I'm trying to go in my myself a bit blind. But they put here, considering it's a Telltale narrative adventure game, the Expanse Telltale series achievement list looks like some thought has gone into it. Much like The Walking Dead, the final season achievement list, it appears that this list includes some missables, some of which are secret achievements that are pretty big spoilers, so I won't discuss them here, and the usual collectible and story-related achievements. So obviously, we'll come on to that in a minute, because it gave me very much Telltale vibes of seeing some of these lists, and it's not necessarily just a straight up collect all the collectibles. It's kind of like a bit more, as it said, the final season Walking Dead. So
what I find with this, that there's a couple secret achievements that are worth 100 gamer score, and those are probably like a super wild playthrough. But then I see some that are worth 25, and those are always the funny achievements. Like, there's gonna be funny achievements in this one. Like I said, with Oxenfree, you unlock an achievement where you're silent all the way through, and that was a secret achievement. So I'm gonna say the ones that are worth 25 are probably like funny ones. So I can't wait to find out what those are.
They did that really Great Skybound games and Telltale with the final season. It was always like a reference to something. You'd like click on it, and it's like, oh, it's a achievement or trophy unlocked. So no, I got really nostalgic looking at it, because it's not old school Telltale trophies. It's like, like the ones that were really early on, where it's just basically play through the game essentially, and you get a platinum trophy or something like that. It's more about, it's refined, so it's like the Walking Dead final season. So it's like you have story related achievements which you're going to lock anyway. So you just play through the story and you get the points or gamer score. But then you also have the little finer detail ones, and then some potentially wild ones. I'm not looked at the 100 gamer score ones. I don't want to look at it yet, because I don't want to spoil myself playing the Expanse. But we're kind of in Expanse territory season at this point, because also as well, we got a bit more news just prior to us recording this as well about the Expanse, which I will go to here. And it was Telltale tweeting, I can't even say his name, Christian Avasala. I'm going to assume that's the name. I could have butchered that absolutely to hell, but Adam, hopefully I didn't get that wrong. Says, Christian navigates threats to Earth, political opponents seeking to take her down, and family drama, all in a day that will change her life forever. Bonus episode, Archangel launches fall 2023 for the Expanse Telltale series. So basically, it's confirmation that we have of the bonus content that we've previously spoken about from the Expanse, which is going to happen and will come in the fall as well. And there's a nice little trailer from there. We're going to go to Stephen Frost, who's the game director on the Expanse. He's also working with I'm going to butcher her name now, Shohara Agashtalu. I hope I got that right. That's probably not right, but she plays the character on the Expanse TV show, as it says in her bio. But he's put can now be checked off the bucket list. I can't say much about this without spoiling it, but this is a day that will change the course of Arsala's life. So kind of I said to Adam, this is kind of like a wrap up of those pieces of news, also into the fact that the Expanse is coming out on the week that we drop this episode.
Yeah, it's actually, well, here's the thing. If you buy the deluxe edition, you will get it the day this podcast drops, because and I was just looking it up, that you will, if you get the deluxe edition, which by the way, it's too late now if you're listening to this, but if you get the deluxe edition, you get 24 hours early access to all 5 episodes as they drop. So
Oh,
as the episodes drop, you will get 24 hours early access to all the episodes, not just episode 1, but all
oh,
the episodes.
can you not get that
Um,
anymore?
what's that?
Can you not get
No,
it
no, no,
anymore?
you can. Like we
Oh,
can because we're in the past. I
right.
don't. They'll probably offer it after episode 1. Like if you buy episode 1, you can probably still
Yeah,
get the deluxe edition. Um, like I'm just saying, like I don't know, but like me and you can because we live in the
yeah,
past.
yeah. I thought you
Um,
said now. I was like, hang on a minute, I've not even pre-ordered it yet. I will be picking this up. I'm
yeah,
like so.
because like why wouldn't you get the deluxe edition? Because the base game I looked up in American dollars, it's 40. The deluxe is 45. So for
Hmm,
$5 extra, you're getting the game 24 hours early, and you're getting a DLC. Like
yeah,
that's a really good. If it was like $15 more, I would have been like, ah,
yeah.
I'll just stick with the base game. But $5 more, pff, hell yeah, dude, I'll do it.
We we talked about in the Oxenfree 2 video we did. No spoilers again. We spoke
Yes.
about it very early on in the review segment where we said like the price wise, like we were willing to pay like $15 more for it, or like
Yeah.
£10 extra because of like the quality of the game that you get. Like I paid £15 for 15 British pounds on discount for
Yes.
Oxenfree 2. And it's better for me the terms of experience I had compared to Final Fantasy 15, which was £75. And I sold after a couple of days because I was like, I'm not invested in this game, I can't get into it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
for me, the price of a Telltale game, and especially like the last wave of Telltale games we had anyway, I'm happy to spend for Telltale because I really like Telltale. And this is like
Yeah.
5 years, man, since we've seen Telltale, man. It feels crazy that Telltale is making a comeback in 2023.
Oh
Um,
god, yeah.
and with the
But
Expanse, like, go on.
no, I was just gonna say, but yeah, no, this is it's really super exciting. It all looks really good. Um, I like the deal with the bonus. With the deluxe edition. I mean,
Yeah.
it's perfect. I think. I hope this game comes out like relatively bug free. Like there's always going to be some issues with new
Mm.
games, you know. But like I hope this is going to come out in the expectations that we have it for, because this is a big coming back for Telltale, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always, again, it's like it's an interesting concept that they're using the Expanse. Because have you watched the Expanse yet?
No, I don't have an Amazon subscription.
So like I have it, and again, like I said a month ago, I was going to start watching it. I haven't watched it. But for anyone wondering, my favorite hobby at the minute is when people recommend me things and I create lists and I just don't
Yeah.
watch it. It's my hobby. Like if you look at my phone browser, there's like 8 films open that I need to watch and have not watched yet. And I currently have a The Last of Us open in terms of TV show I was going to move on to next because I just watched all of Prison Break, but I'm kind of in a mind where I might actually just start watching the Expanse TV show now and then start playing the
Mhm.
game when it comes out in a couple of days' time and see how it goes from there. So I'm currently weighing up that possibility where I just start the TV show now on the Saturday where we record 22nd of July and start it now and see how I go into the game, or I might watch it in parallel. Not too sure yet, so it's kind of it's definitely a real possibility of where I go with it. But in terms of buying it, yeah, I'm going to buy it release now. I've kind of
Oh
decided on
yeah.
that. I'm really invested in it. Um, it's Telltale. I'm a fan of that. I'm interested to see how Deck Nine handles this. This is Deck Nine's first outing, more so in terms of recent memory outside of Life is Strange. So it's kind of like a telling sign of like where they go with things. And obviously,
Yeah.
this is at a time when we spoke about as well. They had layoffs as well,
Mm.
which was not necessarily the kind of the best news for anyone really. But I mean, it's an interesting compilation, isn't it? Like tag team. It's like almost what I would have dreamed of like 10 years ago. Like Don't Nod meets Telltale, and they make a game or something. Like it
Yeah.
has that same vibe with it. Hopefully we get Don't Nod meets Big Bad Wolf, and Big Bad Wolf made the
Mhm.
council. For anyone wondering, which you should play
Yeah.
as well. Play it. That's my Ollie World recommendation. You have
The
Ollie World. I
council.
have the council. Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
I want my mission to make everyone play that game. But no, I really enjoyed it. I like the achievements. It kind of gave me that was the kind of setting point where I was like thinking, hey, I'm going to buy this game at release. Cause I'm like, it's Telltale. It seems pretty simple. I'm currently in the Oxenfree mood at the minute. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah.
currently in that position where I'm playing it just for story purpose, and I'm like really enjoying what I'm playing. Um, and again, if you're wondering, we did an Oxenfree 2 review and spoiler cast. Both are separate as well, so you can like go on the timestamps and you can watch what you want. A lot was said there. But yeah, you're picking up at release. What a
No,
timing that was.
sorry. I thought you were saying the
That was the
audience,
timing.
like, go and pick up on release.
No,
I was like,
no.
oh, what?
The timing of that, I waited for you to drink. I was like, it's like when you're at the restaurant and you like start put a mouthful of food in. The
It's
way
like,
it comes back.
how's
Says,
everything
"How's
going?
I
How's the
used
food?"
to do that in every job I had. I used to purposely come back and be like, "How's it like, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like, do you want
really
anything?
good.
No, okay, cool. See you later." And I move
No.
away. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm definitely like, I like the deal, and I'm excited for the game. And that's the thing. Like, it gives me the opportunity to like play it 24 hours early access. So, but yeah, so it's a good thing, you know.
yeah. As you know what, as well, I haven't seen it yet. Nothing tweeted from Erica Mori or like
I
Instagram or anything,
know.
and
I was
she's
thinking
involved
that.
in this. Like, I'm
Yeah.
interested because like I'm intrigued like what how her experience was on that. Hopefully, we get her back on here at some point. I'm planning on trying to get her back on StrangeCast at some point. It's been a long time since I caught up with her. But like I'm interested to see how she found the experience, because obviously like it was almost like a different Deck 9 team that's worked on this and different developers. So, but nonetheless, as I said, not to keep rambling, I will check that out. We'll keep you updated with the Expanse, potentially a review segment. Adam, we could do episode by episode and see how we go with that.
Oh yeah.
Who knows? Anyway, that's the end of our news. I hope you enjoyed that. A lot of news, lots to be said. And as I said at the beginning, we have a very special segment coming up here. So without further ado, we'll move you into our main topic, which is with Alex himself. Has a lot to say. Look forward to sharing what he says as well. By the way, and while I was laughing at him, you didn't mention the cocaine comment, which he left in the last video. He's like, what he said about the Frank Bowers.
Oh,
do you remember the Frank Bowers thing? You didn't get a chance to ask him that.
What cocaine? I don't know what you're talking
Well,
about.
there you go. Like, yeah. Anyway, as I said, enjoy this interview. Alex got a lot to say. Great insight into the event, and then you can also check out in the links as well to catch up on the events and everything else. So, without further ado, here is us with Alex. So what's up, everyone? Welcome back to this segment. Obviously, as we spoke about at the beginning, as you'll probably see in the thumbnail, as we saw in the last episode as well, we spoke about a special guest that we're going to bring on here. We're bringing on Alex, also known as Dream Prism on Twitter, also known as Dreamwalker on YouTube, one of our listeners, someone who's been heavily involved with this event 6 years after. Also a big Life is Strange 2 fan, so me and him can gang up on Adam during this podcast. But yes, Alex is here. Alex, how are you?
I'm good, yeah.
Right, glad you have you here, because like no,
yeah, I have no reason to complain because he's up earlier than I am.
Yeah, for context,
it's really early, but I went to bed really early last night to make up for it, and I have nothing else to do today, so it doesn't matter if I'm tired. But I'm feeling good.
Yeah. Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, for context, I'm on 12 o'clock British time zone. Adam's on 6 o'clock in the morning. Alex is on 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's like I've kind of got the better stick on this. But we're glad to have you here nonetheless. This was very late and impromptu. But glad to have you because obviously 6 years after, this is an event that you were part of. It was heavily inspired by Life is Strange 2. Saw a really great video on your YouTube channel, which again, I'll link as well. I did it in the last episode. Tell us to start with, 6 years after, were there 5 years before that as well, each year that you did an event? And also, what is the significance behind this event and why you guys started to do it?
Right. So for those of you who've played Life is Strange 2, which probably is most people listening to this podcast, 3 of the 4 endings of the game, spoilers, I guess. I mean, obviously, you've all played the game, hopefully, so spoiler warning. But 3 of the 4 endings after the scene at the border jump forward 6 years. So it says like 6 years after the border, and it shows the rest of the ending. And the other ending's like 15 years after. So people have joked like, okay, so you had this 6 years after meetup because of the game. Are you going to have a 15 years after meetup? Keep in mind that 15 years is 9 years after 6 years. I'm a mathematician, so I know these things. And 9 years ago was like when Life is Strange 1 was announced, more or less. So it's a lot of time. I have no idea what's going to happen 9 years from now. But yeah, the basic idea was it's similar to the game. The game ends on July 4th, 2017. So 6 years after that would be July 4th, 2023. So we had our meetup on like the 2nd to 4th. In the Seattle area, which isn't really appropriate for the endings, but I live around the area, so it's convenient for me. And it was where the brothers' journey started.
I was gonna say, I think it is kind of like a good one because where were the grandparents' house located?
That was in Oregon. It was it was kind of like Eugene, or not really Eugene. It was like east or southeast of Portland, but it wasn't a real city. They kind of just made it up for the game. Qualification: there is a real Beaver Creek, Oregon.
I was gonna say,
although it's all one word instead of two words, and that's just a suburb of Portland. It looks nothing like the Beaver Creek in the game. But fun fact, the real Beaver Creek, Oregon is supposedly the birthplace of geocaching, which is kind of related to the treasure hunt from Captain Spirit.
Yeah. Okay, that's crazy.
Don't know if that was intentional.
Yeah.
Luke watches this podcast, I know. Maybe he can tell us if it was intentional, but...
Yeah, that would be kind of wild, like, because they do a lot of research going into the game. That I believe, like what I keep saying is that, with my theory about their new game, I think it's gonna be set in Philly, and they've taken a couple trips down to that area. I'm like, they took some trips to Oregon. Or no, they didn't. I don't think they took any trips to Oregon when they were developing the game.
I don't know if they went. I know they went to Washington. They definitely went through California.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure if they went to Oregon. They might have. I don't know.
Yeah, because I remember reading up on that fact that they just like looked up pictures. And again, Luke watches his podcast. He could be like, Adam, we actually went there. What are you talking about?
Scroll back really far on someone's Instagram, I don't remember if it was like Michelle or Luke or whoever, you can actually see some photos they were taking during their trip way back when.
That's true. I do remember that now. Yeah.
They also went to like New Zealand at one point, or like at least Michelle went there, and so I was kind of joking that like a game could be set there. But I totally buy you on the Philly thing.
Yeah.
For the new not Life is Strange game, but new Don't Nod game.
Yeah, we have no idea what the title is at all. It's just like,
no, we still haven't gotten anything since that screenshot or art or whatever from the game, right?
Yeah, and I would believe it was you who really dissected it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like a sixth grader trying to dissect things that doesn't know what they're doing, because I made so many bad guesses, but one good guess. I don't know if this counts as spoilers because I'm looking at something in an image, but I'm pretty sure one of the tapes, if you zoom in on the text, says small band stage, which seems to imply that the character has some sort of music background.
Which wouldn't be surprising as well, considering like Luke's influence and also Michelle's influence in music as well. Like, I think that seems kind of on point. I do think that maybe the Philadelphia thing is maybe something that could be there, because Luke did kind of suggest to me and Adam, like, it'd be interesting to go back and see what you got and what you didn't. I kind of am against that, because I just think Adam's leaning towards his Penn State kind of like, all that kind of like affiliation. But as I said, 6 years after, thanks for the name check as well, because obviously my first part was just a bit of a joke. But, it's a nice event that you've had this as well. And I watched the video, it seems very wholesome. It's like, you don't get this with like a lot of communities, and this is like a rare one, especially with Life is Strange 2 bringing so many people together. Do you when you host these events as well, is it usually the same people? Do you kind of get people who come and float in and float out? I saw the videos where people recorded messages themselves, but has there kind of been like a more what's what I'm looking for, like the same usual people who come up, or have you had like people come in and go as well?
Yeah, so I probably didn't say this clearly enough when you asked the first time, but this is the only event. There was no 5 years after. There was no 4 years after. It's 6 years after because of the thing in the game.
Right.
Also, there was like COVID was a bigger deal longer ago. Like we went, for example, to a fireworks show on July 4th in Bellevue, which had probably 30,000 people at it. And there's like absolutely no way I would have gotten people to go to something like that back when like COVID was a bigger thing. I mean, it's still a thing, but like, it's obviously not the same now as it was like a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But the people who did come up, there were 6 of us, counting myself, if I'm allowed to count myself. I was kind of surprised it was all white people. It's like, okay, well, this is a game about like race and stuff to some extent, and we have 6 white people here. But I wonder if, like, for one, I hosted in the Pacific Northwest, which is kind of, white biased in terms of people easily being able to travel up here. And then for another, like, obviously, like, people of color tend to have, like, lower incomes. So, like, I'm trying to think through, like, okay, maybe in some sense, it is more likely that more white people would show up. But it would have been nice, to have, like, a bigger mix, I guess. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I believe I haven't spent too much time in the Pacific Northwest, but and again, I'm coming from Philadelphia, like where it's one of the most diverse cities in America. But I didn't really spend too much time, like I said, in the Pacific Northwest, but it's not really as diverse as Philadelphia. You know, it's,
Yeah, I mean, if you just want to count like Asian people from various countries,
yeah.
we have a lot of diversity in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like other ethnicities, it's not that high. I mean, you can Google the actual statistics. I'm just going on my recollection, but
Yeah, no, because that's the thing about that area. It's just it's yeah, like you said, it's very Asian focused, and again, nothing bad about that. I think it's great that we live in a country that we have this much cultural diversity, cultural like mixings that we can actually like share experiences. But again, where I grew up in Philadelphia, it was I grew up in the Russian Chinese district. So like, and I'm a Hungarian Jewish man, so it's just like very much just all over the place over there. Whereas like Pacific Northwest is not as crazily diverse, you know.
And we had several people who wanted to come, but just couldn't afford it or couldn't take the time off work or something. Like we had someone in like Argentina, for example, who would have loved to come. And he's in the video like that I made for like the message at the end of the event, because some people submitted things online. So he was going to come, but obviously like Argentina, the income isn't as high. And they even have some weird thing where if you like try to buy too much stuff in US dollars in Argentina, like you have to pay some extra tax on it.
Really?
Something political going on there, I guess, but
yeah, that's wild.
I also think inflation affects it as well, because Argentina's like seeing high inflation at really extortionate rates, so they might have like put the tax in place to kind of bring it down. But the Argentina thing does make sense, because obviously I know that Gonzalo Martin's from Latin America, so it's like I imagine that the game resonated with a lot of people, and it's kind of cool that you had someone who actually was interested to come from Latin America into North America to kind of spend this time. But as you said, it's down to like costs, it's down to commuting, it's down to timing, and it's like me and Adam try and get people on this podcast all the time. It's like timing wise, it's just so difficult doing it across 3 different time zones, let alone like just even one. But no, like, apologies as well before, because I thought this event was like held yearly as well. I just felt like it was like almost like a yearly event. But because this is 6 years after the way that you've done this event, are you going to do any more? Or do you have anything planned for any future events, or is this just going to be the one-off then?
well, that's what I was saying like earlier. Like people were saying, well, because the redemption ending says 15 years after, although it seems more like 16 by the time the Forest team gets around. But maybe we should do something then. But that's just so ridiculously far in the future. Like there's no point in planning anything right now. I did actually, you could say that this was my second attempt at a meetup, because originally I was going to visit London, which has nothing to do with Life is Strange 2, but I was going to visit London, and I had a trip scheduled that was going to meet up with some people who happened to be interested in the game. It was honestly, to some extent, it was about me splitting hotel costs and stuff, because staying in London was like super expensive. But it happened to be around like Easter 2020 that I was going to plan it. And then we had like Daniel's birthday was in there too, like 13th birthday or something. So we were going to do some sort of like cake or something for that. But obviously anything scheduled for April of 2020 was not going to happen. So that plan fell through. And like I tried contacting some of the same people who went to that to see if they would be interested in attending this 6 years after, when I finally like scheduled this new meetup. But I don't think any of the people who were going to be in that ended up being in the other thing. Some people just sort of like went in and out of the community in that time. I've kind of just been sitting around the Life is Strange community the whole time. But like some people have kind of faded a little more in and out. And other people, again, like maybe they were in Europe, so a London trip was feasible for them, but they're not going to come all the way to Seattle.
Like what do you see the future in to meetups or even just conventions in general? We've been seeing such a like a dying down of conventions, including I don't know if you know about this convention called E3 that hasn't really been happening. What do you think the future is? Do you think we're going to see a rise again soon, or is it just kind of dead in the water because of COVID?
I don't know. I'm kind of pessimistic about like the whole like economy and everything because if you think about like global warming and all the news that's been happening recently with that, like that affects like food availability and prices and like everything else gets more expensive because out in other countries they're like completely starving and stuff. And here in America we're like, okay, well now we have to pay a little bit more so that we can buy this stuff instead of the people who are starving being able to get it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it seems really messed up. And so like I'm thinking like the world is not really headed for a great spot in general. So I do think that travel probably would continue to decline a little bit. But
Yeah.
I don't know if
It's
that's too
unfortunate.
sad for the podcast. But
I know, like it's the truth though. Like it's
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that like we can't even get sriracha right now because like the pepper shortage is so bad that sriracha has like slowed down a production. Something a sauce can't like keep up with. Because yeah, I work in the restaurant industry and talking about like food availability, the food costs have risen so high. But if you raise up prices on the menu to match your food prices, like people get in a fit. I'm just like, okay, well, you're here dining, you're here for an experience. When there's actual, like you said, there's people out there who are struggling to pay for groceries. I don't know. It's a little bit wild to think about that, but we've lost compassion, I feel like, in this time. But yeah, getting back to
regarding
my
conventions, since you
I was
brought
gonna
that up,
say.
I did attend PAX West in 2019.
Mhm.
This was like right after episode 4 released, and they had like a panel there with Michelle, Phil, everyone knows Phil, the voice actor director,
Mhm.
and Gonzalo, who played Sean, and Roman, who played Daniel. And
Mhm.
also Day was like there, but she wasn't on the panel.
Really?
Day is
Yeah,
just
and
Day, isn't she?
Yeah.
yeah, Kate Day, like for
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't
Yeah.
know, from Life is Strange 1. That's why she
Yeah.
wasn't on the panel, because it's Life is Strange 2 panel. So yeah, I attended that panel, and then they had like an after party that it wasn't really even a Life is Strange 2 after party. It was some game journalist that had an after party,
Hmm.
and Life is Strange 2 people were at that, and they had like some sort of a like they gave away like a few little things. I didn't win the giveaway, but I went to that at like a bar, and I talked with Michelle and Gonzalo there one on one a little bit. And it was funny because at 9 p.m. the bar like was supposed to close to like minors,
Mm.
but Roman obviously was, and I still is, I guess, a minor.
Yeah.
Well, he's at least under 21. I don't know.
Yeah.
He probably he
Yeah.
could be 18 by now. I don't know.
You could
But,
drink in the UK, but not
yeah.
not in America.
But I joked to Roman at like, I don't know, 8:59 or something, like, okay, Roman, you have 1 more minute to get out of here. And he's like, well, I'm exempt. And Gonzalo was standing right there, and he's like, didn't you play episode 3? He said he's not a kid anymore. So
Yeah. Jesus,
Yeah, they had a really great relationship, and it's
So-
cool that you had that opportunity to meet
that
with
was fun, and I hope to see more PAX events in the future, with Don't Not attending maybe when they do their little Don't Not Montreal game.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, like, I know PAX East happened like, in a good success. Again, I live in the Midwest now, so I'm like, there's nothing that happens out here. There's nothing. But yeah, from what I've heard about PAX East from my friends, it sounds like it was pretty successful. Not the same feeling, but it's getting back there. Or even like small ones. Like I used to go to Long Island Retro Convention, and that's coming back into full fruition. So I'm like, okay, it's slowly coming back. Doesn't mean that like, oh, we're on a rise. It just means we're on a slow track. Hopefully it sustains that momentum, but who knows? I think what happened in 2020, like things can come to a halt real quick, and it's crazy to think about that. But just enjoy the good times while we have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and by the way, with your things, Adam, as well, I think they're going to be pockets. So you'll have like TwitchCon, you'll have like PAX, you'll have
yeah.
Comic-Con. I think those events will stay central, but stuff like E3 will just be non-existent going forward. I mean, you're going to keep the core ones. But no, Alex, it's cool that you had a chance to meet Michelle. Like, I've always said to people when they listen to this podcast, I've never spoken to Luke my entire life, like one-on-one directly, but I've known him for like 9+ years. I followed him on Twitter, have like
Wow.
interacted with him. And like, there's one opportunity where I had a chance to speak to Luke, and I missed it because I couldn't go to PAX. It was either PAX West or East, and they sent like a media itinerary over, and it said Square Enix, Luke Bargados, and I think it was either Michelle or Raul Barbe, and it was like an interview with them. But I just didn't get a chance to fly out at that time, so it's like the only time I could have actually like had the chance never happened. And obviously, since then, they moved on from Life is Strange and working on the Montreal game. We'll come on to that in a little bit because we'll talk to you
Something
about
you just said reminded me. You said Square Enix, and people were like, one person was really annoyed when I said Square Enix in my video. He's like, I cannot stand the American pronunciation of Square Enix.
Yeah.
So maybe I should be saying Square Enix. I don't know.
I flip flop.
Since I get on his podcast, I'm just like, yeah, it's Square Enix, and then like Adnan's like, mate, it's Square Enix. Bloody hell. I'm like, oh my god, like, what do I say? So I just stopped saying the company name altogether.
Yeah, I try to avoid saying any names here because otherwise it's like when we just say Jusant wrong, and it's like it's actually Jusant. It's like it's not Jusant, it's Jusant. It's like I hate the pronunciations are like my biggest nightmare. But I think I just usually swap between Square Enix and Square Enix. But onto the point with back onto obviously this meetup, we're going to talk about it. What was the day like? What did you guys do?
Oh, it's 3 days. So some people arrived early on like the first, and we ate some overpriced burgers at like Shake Shack. But then on the second, it was good. It's just overpriced.
It is, yeah.
But then on the second, we had the first actual day of the meetup, and I rented out a space that like was normally like some sort of, I don't know, ironing, clothing, detailing shop or something. But I rented out a space in Seattle, Capitol Hill District. And so we all met up at that room, the 6 of us who attended physically. And we, worked on the capes. Oh, I should show you the cape that I made, like in the design of the Captain Spirit capes.
Yes.
I made a cape that says Captain Countdown.
Yes.
And that's because I would every single day count down in our Discord server for the group the number of days left until the event. And also because I couldn't think of anything better in the moment.
I mean, that's how
but
life
other
goes,
people
man.
made other cool capes. You can see most of them on the like photos and like the Google Drive link that should be on a comment on the video that should be linked in this description somewhere, or maybe in a pinned comment here. You can find it somewhere and you can see the photos.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, we stayed in that space. 3 of them people there, not me, went to go get tattoos at a nearby tattoo shop around lunch. We played like Ship Captain Crew. Somebody made a physical like Ship Captain Crew game that looked really good. And I made like a small pocket version, which I probably should have brought here. But again, it's in a photo somewhere.
Yeah.
And we played an online version too, because there were some people who were like attending virtually in some sense. They did like a souvenir hunt where they try to take photos of the collectibles from the game, but like real life versions of them. And so like the closest match, some other person who was helping to administer it decided like who was the closest match. And if I sound like I'm everywhere, it's because there were a lot of things we did that first day. And I didn't even mention at the end of the day, we kind of just said, okay, even though we have the room for 3 more hours, let's go like show these people the Seattle Center with like the Space Needle and stuff while they're all still here. And so we went to like the Chihuly Glass Museum and the Space Needle next to it, and we did all kinds of stuff. And then the second day, July 3rd, we did, that was the big hiking day. We finished like ironing the capes in the very early morning, and then we went down to Rainier, and there was a ridiculously long line going there because everybody on the 4th of July, well, I guess that was a Monday, but 4th of July weekend, whatever, everyone wanted to go to Rainier to hike. And so we were waiting in the car for quite a long time, but eventually we got there. We did our 5-mile hike. Some people like sketched the mountain.
Nice.
While we were up there. We weren't on Rainier, actually. We were on like a nearby trail, and you got a good view of Rainier. And then we got back from that. And then the 4th, we was kind of like a less intense day because everyone had like gotten very little sleep the first 2 days. So we didn't start doing stuff together until like afternoon, but we went to the aquarium, some of us anyway. And then we tried going to like this gay dino bar, but it was closed. And then we let's see, what else am I missing?
you
Oh, the
say-
fireworks show. I already mentioned
Did you
that.
say a gay dino bar?
Yeah, I just does that weird or something?
No, it's just like I don't know. Is that like dinosaurs? Like
So there was a gay bar, and I'm not even gay. Like that's another thing. Like I'm like straight, and yet like most of the Life is Strange community is well like LGBT in some way. But like the group wanted to go, or like one person like really wanted to go because they saw like this bar they walked by that had all these like dinosaurs like singing karaoke on like the imagery and stuff.
yeah.
And they're like, we should totally go there. But
I was about
they
to
were
say
closed,
it's like
so.
oh yeah. I was gonna say it's like was it like a because I'm crazy about that. Like my wife will like take me through Target and she's like, oh look, it's dinosaur gift wrap. I'm like, you're gonna wrap my presents in dinosaur gift wrap, right? I'm like I'm just like yeah, let's go for it. So I was like, oh, gay dinosaur bar. I'm like, let's go, dude. Like
It's in Seattle, in the Capitol Hill area somewhere. I don't remember the name of the place.
yeah,
but
dang.
it's there.
And I was gonna even ask, like, since you're in Seattle, did you go to any coffee shops while you're in Seattle?
I mean, I'm not a big coffee drinker myself.
Yeah.
I don't think I had went to any coffee shops. Maybe somebody else did when they weren't with me. Like maybe no, actually, yeah, technically we did go to a coffee shop.
Nice.
We were picking up a couple people in Auburn.
Mhm.
Because based on where everyone's hotels were, sorry, people don't know the Seattle geography. So
Yeah.
I'm over in the east side, which is like east of Seattle itself. But one person's hotel was down south of Seattle in a city called Auburn, which is between Seattle and Mount Rainier. So the day we went to Mount Rainier, we picked up a couple people in Auburn, and they were actually eating at a coffee shop when we
Nice.
picked them up. So technically we did go to a
Technically.
coffee shop.
Because I was gonna say Seattle is like one of the coffee capitals of America, you know. So like it's I know a lot of weird coffee shops out there that drink white coffee. And it's not what you think, Adnan. It's not like with cream. Like so the way the roasting process happens, you get your light roast, which you don't put it in too long, and your dark roast, you put it in much longer. White coffee is pretty much you put it in a roaster for like a second, and there you go. There's your coffee. It's like super
I am not the
weird.
person to talk to you about coffee. I
Yeah.
don't really drink coffee.
Oh man. Well, that's like me being in the Midwest. Like I don't like ranch dressing or something like that. It's like out here, they literally every restaurant like, you want ranch for that? Do you want ranch? Would you like a side of ranch? I'm like, you guys love ranch, don't you?
I knew a kid in like elementary school, like back when I was living in California when I was like in 4th grade.
Yeah.
And there was this kid who would put like ketchup and ranch and like every condiment he could see on Twix bars at lunch.
Huh.
And
Well,
kind of odd.
sounds very
but-
Midwest, but yeah. Oh my god. A condiments like ranch on Twix. I mean, don't knock it till you try it, you know what I mean?
Alex, in that conversation then, you just mentioned as well tattoos. Was it Life is Strange inspired tattoos? Did you actually get the tattoos?
I didn't get a tattoo. 3 people did, and then like 2 people who were attending virtually also got tattoos where they were. I don't remember all the tattoos. I think definitely one person got like the running wolves on their wrist. Oh, actually, I think I do remember them all. Yeah, because then one person got like basically Cassidy's wolf tattoo for Sean on like their arm somewhere or whatever. And another person got like Lone Wolf Daniel's like weird hourglass skull Grim Reaper thing on their arm somewhere, probably where Daniel had it.
Dang.
Oh, nice. So with this as well, like
I can shout out the tattoo spot. It was SideQuest Tattoo in Seattle.
Is
Not
it like
sponsored. I mean, I'm not even with them, but like
is it like
not
a video
sponsoring
game
me
themed,
either, you know.
like video game themed tattoo shop?
Sorry, what?
Is it like a video game themed tattoo shop?
No, it's just a tattoo shop that
Okay.
humored us and gosh,
I was gonna say with
got
the
tattoos
name
people
like
wanted.
Side Quest. I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. But no, it's just a tattoo shop called Side Quests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was like, ooh.
Oh
that's
no, actually, I never even thought about that. I get what you're saying. I was just like saying the name like
yeah,
a slur of syllables almost. I wasn't even processing the name. You
Yeah.
might have a point. I have no idea, but I did not notice like a heavy video game theme. But I only
Okay.
walked into the tattoo shop for like a second, because I wasn't getting a tattoo.
Yeah. It was just like
But
a side quest you were doing in your day, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool that you got to do that. But because like one thing I wanted to speak to you more about as well is obviously Life is Strange 2 is something that you resonate with more. Obviously the event's heavily inspired with that, and it's that particular game. It's very divisive, obviously, as our key guest here, our key host as well, is sitting back because he knows how he feels about Life is Strange 2. I really love it. I think it's a great game. But why did you lean more towards Life is Strange 2 here? Like this is like kind of the Life is Strange game you're more interested in.
Yeah, so Life is Strange 1, I there was like a Square Enix newsletter before it came out that had mentioned like, hey, there's this neat time travel game that's going to be releasing sometime. And I'm like, that sounds cool. And I watched a Let's Play of it. I didn't actually play it myself until after Life is Strange 2 Episode 1, but I'd watched a couple Let's Plays, and I really loved the game. And I procrastinate so much on playing games that the very fact that I even played Life is Strange 2 when it came out is a testament to my liking Life is Strange 1. So I just wanted to get that out of the way first. I love Life is Strange 1.
Yeah.
But Life is Strange 2 did resonate more with me. When I was 9 years old, I left California, and like we drove out to Louisiana where some of my extended family lived. And, the way that the boys were raised, like without religion, even though they had a parent that came from a religious background, like that is sort of something I can relate with too. And I don't know, I think just being there while the game was releasing and playing it as the episodes came out, making theories and stuff, just got me more involved in the community. So it's sort of a momentum thing where because I was involved in the community, I continue to feel more involved.
Yeah. It's definitely, art is very much like a time and place kind of thing. If you're in the right time and place, it really resonates with you. Which is why I don't think it resonated with me at first, because like in that time, I was not going through the best time in the world. I was like in a rough work situation, trying to leave, but I couldn't at the time. So it was just like I couldn't really focus on the game. But when I replayed it recently, I'm in a better place in life. I'm like, oh, okay, I can appreciate it. But for somebody who like was there within the community, not necessarily the best time, but just like one of those times, like good time, good place, you really connected with that way.
And I played like True Colors too. I mean, I liked that as well. It was way too short, but
yeah,
it was a good game too.
Yeah, the Deck 9 games are very interesting in contrast to the Don't Nod ones. They're very, and you can tell, I think you can personally play them and know which developers made which, just because of their sense of style and their direction and their storytelling. And Adam there is just backpedaling as well, because I made him issue a public apology on StrangeCast in the past about hating on Life is Strange 2 after he became a believer.
Adnan, how many times have you played Life is Strange 2?
The once, and it was magnificent.
Once. Just
it
once.
It was magnificent. I don't need to play it again after that. Go on.
There are a lot of people in the community that have played it a ton of times. In terms of actually playing it, I have only played through, 2 times in a sense.
Yeah.
It's a really weird sense because I did a lot of saving and loading, like branching off a file here or there. But if you make this weird graph of all the times I've played myself, there would only be like 2 separate pieces to the graph.
I see what you're saying.
I go all through this different ways, go through that different ways.
Yeah.
But and what else did I want to say? I don't know.
How many hours do you think you've clocked into Life is Strange 2 then? Like not even just playthroughs, but
Yeah, so most of my hours were back between episode 2 and episode 3. Because I replayed the ending of episode 2 over 30 times. Just the ending of episode 2, because I was trying to work out the morality system and like what would influence the different endings. Because there was this video like right after Life is Strange 2 dropped that said like Life is Strange 2 episode 2 endings and how to get them or something. And it was like wrong. And I'm like, why do they have this video saying wrong information on how to get the endings? And so I went through and I was like trying to figure out the power encouragement formula for whether or not Chris's powers were encouraged. I was trying to figure out whether or not Daniel would save Chris if like powers weren't encouraged enough. And I came pretty close to like accurate information. I think there've been a couple cases where I was a little bit off, but I put a lot of research into it. And a lot of people, they would just like go into the game's code or something and figure it out that way. And I think eventually people did somehow, but I was not that type of person, so I didn't go into the game's code at all. The only cheat I used is they had, I don't know if they still have this, but they had a journal glitch starting in episode 2, where you could see at the moment if you have high or low morality. Because if you have high morality, there's like on the drawing on the page about the dice game, it shows like Daniel looking sad and it says like pouty boy if he has high morality, but it shows like a little angel, a halo above his head, and it says like cheating ? If he has low morality. And I assume it was supposed to just be never updated throughout the rest of the game, and it was just supposed to be there at the beginning. But instead, they made a bug, and any time in the game, you can check your journal and see whether you currently have high or low morality.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I never noticed that. Dang.
And later, therefore, we learned that if something is based on brotherhood rather than morality, you can just check, can you get that same dialogue with both high and low morality? And if so, then it's a dialogue based on brotherhood.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I've never noticed that because I've only played through it at this point 3 times now, Life is Strange 2. But like, yeah, I'm not really one to like go through like lore in that way. Like even in Fallout, I love Fallout 3. I don't really read the journals, or in Skyrim, I don't really read the journals. I read in real life, but when it comes to video games, don't know what it is. It's like if you give me like, yeah, it's like
I used to watch a ton of pieces of Twitch streams as well of Life is Strange 2 and the occasional like YouTube stream. And so if you count those, like I logged a ridiculous number of hours, especially like from like when it first came out to like half a year after episode 5 dropped. I watched way too many hours of it on Twitch, and I'd start recognizing other people in the Twitch chats that I'd seen in other streams. Like, it's crazy.
I was gonna say that's me with Life is Strange 1. I'm actually trying to find how many hours I've clocked with just Life is Strange 1.
I've got too many hours into that game.
Oh god, yeah.
The funny part with Life is Strange 2 is as well, like I've never seen the Captain Spirit effects aside from on YouTube videos, because obviously Adam says as well, I played it once, Life is Strange 2, and I reviewed it on the PlayStation, so I got review codes from Square Enix. And then when I was reviewing it, my Captain Spirit save was on the Xbox One. So when I got to episode 2, I was like, hang on a minute, why is nothing being shown here? I was like, actually, there's my save. It's currently on the Xbox, which I sold because it's a very inferior console, as Adam knows. But
it is, though. Like, Phil Spencer's right when he said, like, oh, we're third place. I'm like, I don't think there's any Xbox person that should be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, come on, man. Like, we're on the trash console. Like, let's all be accepting of that, you know?
So, Alex. Oh, wait. Is he here?
Sorry, I found my hours. Oh, man. Xbox actually does not have my times played.
Shock and surprise.
But it does say that I've made 787 choices. So I'm like, there you go.
Did you have an overflow error on the time that you spent, or
maybe it just doesn't have it? Like I don't know. I probably clocked in like a good amount. Not as much as William Hella though. William Hella has clocked in like, I don't know, 200 hours on Life is Strange 1.
Yeah, I heard he's going to be releasing some new videos soon.
Yeah, he just released his thoughts on Jusant. Like he did that.
Yeah,
so he's coming back. So like I don't know if it's official he's coming back, but good things.
While we're mentioning Jusant, I want to take a moment to appeal to Don't Nod. Please bring the Jusant demo back. I was going to play it, but I procrastinated, and apparently July 12th it went off the Steam page. So please bring it back.
Honestly.
I'm gonna try and crop this clip. I'm gonna tag Oscar Gilbert like you did as well, and I'm gonna tweet it from the Play One versus World Twitter account just to see if they see it again. But yeah, bring back the Jusant demo, please. It'd be great for people as well. I mean, I hope they get a really big success because there's obviously that new wave of Don't Nod games that are coming out. Everyone's excited about. So Alex, let's move on to obviously, because me and you have privately spoken, you were in my DMs about Don't Know Montreal's game. We've briefly spoke about it before because you gave me your theories and stuff. Like, that's the big topic of conversation for a lot of people. Like, we're kind of quietly sitting here waiting for what Michel, Luke, and the Don't Know Montreal team are doing. Like, what do you think your theories are so far on this game? Like, on this podcast, because like we've done our podcast episode, me and Adam, where we talk about it deeply, but I've always wanted to hear what other people think. And like Luke's tweet at me lives rent free in my head, where he's like, you should go back and listen at some point when we reveal the game and see what you got right and what you didn't get right, or along those lines. And I'm like, it's a lot interesting. So what do you think about it? Because you're one of those kind of people, if you get like invested in this game like you did Life is Strange 2, it's going to be like a new kind of like experience for you. So where do you stand with what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited. I mean, anything they put out, I'll play. You know,
Yeah.
I'm definitely a sucker for their games. But I'm excited. I believe that it's set in Philly, as Adam predicted, and I think I mentioned, I don't know if it was when we were recording or not, but I mentioned I zoomed in on like the text on various tapes, and the best thing I can see is one of the tapes says small band stage, and so that implies some sort of music background to the characters. But I mean, there's just so little released on it, I can't really give many thoughts about the game.
Yeah.
There's
So it says, go on, sorry.
Obviously like 90s, late 90s setting, maybe mid 90s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because there's something about the furniture that makes me say like that's like late 90s like furniture, like the weird wood paneling that we always had in the 90s. Like it just screamed in with the SNES involved, but with two characters. I think there was a Now and Later, like a little piece of Now and Later.
So
yeah, there was
it's like
Bubble Pop, I think it said, or something like that.
do you guys
was
not
like-
feel old seeing it? Every time I see that photo, I feel so old. They're using a VHS like as an artifact. It's like, for me, that was my childhood. I feel so old watching everything they're showing there.
I already feel old, man. Like I'm thinking about the economy now. Like how am I gonna be like young and thinking about economy?
Yeah, you mentioned the VHS tape, and I know like you brought this up on your podcast ages ago, but the idea that this might have something to do with like watching various VHS tapes that you get, and maybe somehow like sort of like in Remember Me, maybe you can like edit something somehow through the tape. That would be kind of interesting.
Where I'm at as well, because I don't know why I watched it. Like it was like last year I watched it was It Part 2. For some reason, that the premise of that story, if you have you watched it, It Part 2?
I haven't watched either of it.
So I would recommend it, but like It Part 2 is like, it's almost like the all the characters from the first film come back at like adult stage, so they all come back to kind of like face their fear, face their consequences. But it's like this kind of like almost like this gathering back together. And I have this kind of feeling with the Don't Know Montreal game where it's like that it's going to have like two people or maybe three or four people reconnecting, and then stories are told for the VHS tapes. You would see like, all this kind of like nostalgic stuff. So I think it's like almost going to like blend through different like timelines. Mainly will probably be set in like the 90s, I think, is going to be my kind of guess with it. Adam's more better with in terms of like aesthetics of like US housing and stuff. But for me, it's like, it just screams 1990s. So that's kind of like what I've taken away from it. It's like, and I feel like obviously like Luke and Michelle's age, like, and our ages, it's like, it's kind of like in that time zone they're going to fit, time frame, sorry, that they're going to fit the game. So I'm personally there with it, where I'm like watching it, I'm like, I'm kind of like, oh, actually, this is going to be in that space. So that's what I personally think.
I had all kinds of theories when Life is Strange 2 was coming out, and some of them were like very accurate, and some of them were just completely crazy. Like an example of an accurate theory, like I predicted, like after episode 3 came out, that Jacob took Daniel, following the conclusion of that episode, and then like. I'm sure different people independently came up with it to some extent too, because it's not like I'm like some genius that can be the only one to come up with things. But like I started seeing all the videos from like Dom the Bomb, and he was great in that he did bring a lot of attention to the game, but he'd always be like late with his theories, and he'd be like, oh, I have this great theory, and like everyone called me crazy. It's like, no, this was a popular theory before you ever made a video on it. Like, I don't know, but
it's just like the way content works. You gotta be like exaggerating yourself. It's just it is what it is.
You have to say at the time frame, because I think like Life is Strange and like the Don't Know games have really benefited, like you said, Alex, off of influences and people seeing. Because like even with Life is Strange, I kind of got into it a little bit earlier than most people. I'd say. I think I started getting, I think it was Gamescom 2014. I started seeing the first images of Life is Strange and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, actually, I'm kind of interested in this. Started watching some of the developer diaries, and then I started covering it, did reviews, etc. And it's not until I think like it was like March or May or around that period, it just exploded in popularity. And then I started seeing like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, all these people streaming it. And I think that gave it the profile boost, because otherwise it just seemed like Square Enix were kind of like, we're going to put this game out and we don't really have that much expectation for it. So I think with Life is Strange 2 as well, I think a lot of people helped carry that game for what it was, because from what I can tell, some people just seem to check out at early stages in the episodes, because like, it's funny you say like theories and stuff, because Adam has always like kind of said this to me and like alluded to it. His expectation was that he wanted to be Chris in Life is Strange 2, because like when he played Captain Spirit, he associated himself heavily with Chris. And then it's like when you get the reveal at the end of the demo, it's actually like, hang on a minute, you're not Chris. It's like, this is where the story is going to go. Adam was a bit like, and I think that might have influenced not his words, but like influenced his experience going to Life is Strange 2, because it's like, hang on a minute, I'm not the character I wanted to be here, or the kind of like the expectation has been subverted a little bit.
It's also what we talked about with Oxenfree too, that like it's always expectation that ruins games.
I haven't watched your Oxenfree 2 video because I haven't played it yet, so don't talk about it.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, but like the general thought of like expectations for games just ruin it. You know, like if you have high expectations, like for Life is Strange 2, I expected to be Chris because I related to his story a lot. So when it wasn't him and I was in, like, not to say I couldn't relate to Sean and Daniel, but I'm like, I relate more to Chris.
I feel like Chris was done wrong to some extent, because he had this story of like, oh, what happened to Emily? And we thought we were going to get that resolved. Yeah. But not really. So it's still theories. Like, I had a theory, and I actually shared this to tie this back to the meetup. I shared this theory multiple times, but we were talking about it at the meetup. Did Nick, and I'm not talking about Nicholas, I'm talking about the Nick who like, talked to like them at the Christmas market, the guy in like the cyan sweater. Did Nick kill Emily? And that's why he's not talking to Charles anymore. Ooh. Well, because it's conservation of detail. Nick is like the only character in Captain Spirit that's like mentioned. There's like a photo of him somewhere, and it's like, I wonder why he doesn't talk to Nick anymore or Dad anymore or whatever. Yeah, and it's true. He's also like working closely with Angus, the sheriff, or Gus. If you remember, like, I know way too much about this stuff, but Angus, also known as Gus, is the sheriff of Beaver Creek, and Nick calls him in episode 2, and that's kind of why the brothers get arrested, at least in the endings where you didn't call Lila or go on the laptop. That's the excuse why they're arrested. And remember, in Captain Spirit, there was not a newspaper, like some correspondence between Charles and the police chief, where they're like, oh, sorry, we can't give you the video camera footage that we were supposed to have of this intersection, so we can't help. And it seems like Nick's connection to Gus could like allow him to get off free. Okay. But someone else at the meetup does not agree with my theory and thinks that I do not have good enough evidence for that. And it's kind of right, but it's just a conservation of detail thing. Like, what else do I have to go on? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's interesting. I always say this to people, like, I'm never the biggest Life is Strange fan, even though some people might think that because of the content we do on the YouTube channel. But, and even Web Pickers will say it to me when I was talking to him. It's like Life is Strange super fan. I'm like, I'm not really a super fan. I'm kind of like host content, because I give people like you the platform because you're more vested in that. And I don't come late with my theories and start saying them like, oh, they're my theories. Like, I always credits them. Like, even when I did my Donna Montreal video, I was like, and these are like ideas that Alex had given me through the videotape and stuff. It's not something I'm going to be like running off and saying I scream to the hill. It's like, it's better for me to share the opinions of people who invest in the games. But no, it's really interesting you said that. And Alex, obviously we're coming close up to an hour, and it's almost, it's really early in the morning for you, and we've spoken so much about it 6 years after. It's great there. Links will be in the content, people go and check that out. I'm going to give you the last plug here as well, in terms of like where people can find you, where people can go and find this video. Obviously, as I said, it'll be in the links, but kind of like just in terms of if people still want to chat, like, is the Discord still up as well? Can they kind of join and still have conversations about Life is Strange 2?
I wouldn't recommend joining the 6 years after Discord. Technically, if you search it up on Reddit or whatever, you can probably still find the link to join, but that's
Mhm.
kind of done. If you want to join a place to communicate about Life is Strange 2 these days, probably the best place to go would be the Wolf Squad Discord server, which I can I mean, you can probably search that on Reddit too, and just
Yeah.
search like Wolf Squad on the Life is Strange 2 subreddit, and you can find a link. Maybe someone will post a link in the comments. I don't know.
Mhm.
Can we even post links in comments, or is that going to get like deleted? I don't know.
I think it should allow me. I seem to have been able to do it off the main YouTube
Yeah.
channel. So hopefully, I think you can post links as well. I'll have a. If you do it anyway, I'll have a flick and see if hopefully it works.
Been in a lot of different Discord servers over the years. You know, there have been like civil wars and stuff in the community, but this new one like kind of developed, I think, from some people on the subreddit, and some of the people from older Discords are there, but some of them are people who found the game just like within the past year. So it's amazing there's still like new people finding the game and like joining the server and being like, oh, this game has devastated me. Now I want to talk about it more. You know?
No, it's really cool you said that, and the Civil War comment is very accurate because it seems to be like a fight between everyone else on like one front. I'm always like, I feel like I'm an apologist sometimes with Life is Strange. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't like True Colors as much, and someone else is like, you should really have liked it, but as you will. Alex, again, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really glad to have you here. You've done fab as well, and as I said to people, go and check out 6 Years After. I'll have links in the description, in the comments, hopefully. So do check that out. And we're going to jump into our next segment, which is Spread the Arts. So we'll be losing Alex, unfortunately, at this point. But thank you again, Alex, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
So I hope you enjoyed that segment with Alex. Obviously, you know, the magic of editing here. But as I said, go and check out his event. Go and check out the stuff that he's done. It's great to spotlight that. As we said before, we've had Jonathan on before. We now had Alex on, so it's great to get that on. And Alex, if you listen to this, thank you so much for coming on at 4 o'clock in the morning. You do not understand how much we appreciate that as well. The commitment to the cause is always respected on StrangeCast. So either way, we're done with the main topic segment there. Adam, this is Spread the Arts, obviously. Do you want to go first?
Sure thing. I mean, I'm always going to be plugging my music. But yeah, I just came out with a new single called Wire Connection. It actually got on a pretty popular playlist on Spotify. So it's a Nintendo Chill playlist. So it's really cool. But yeah, you can find Caster Garden, Wire Connection. I made it for fun. I don't really think it's my best work, but you know what? It's out there. So check that out. But in terms of real stuff, I finally watched the Last of Us TV series. I finally did it. And I really liked it. I honestly really liked it. Because like you always see on the internet, like, oh, this show is the best show. Why aren't they making jokes like this? And you watch it and it's like, it's okay. It's good. The Last of Us show, like, man, they nailed it, dude. They nailed it. They made sure, because I watched the after credit scenes where they do small interviews between the director and Neil Druckmann, where they both work together to make a dramatization of what Neil Druckmann did. And there's some corrections to what Neil Druckmann did. Like Craig Mazin?
Mazin, yeah.
Craig
Mazin.
Mazin.
The guy who worked on Chernobyl.
Yes.
Yeah.
He came and he had suggestions for Neil, like, well, why don't we make this character this way? And Neil just says, like, oh, I'm an idiot for not thinking that. Why didn't I think of that? So there's some changes to the story, but all in all together, if you like Last of Us the game, you're going to love the show because it expands things that you didn't think needed expanding while also keeping the lines. There's like the one-liners that are from The Last of Us that you're just like, that's from the game. Even to the cinematography, it feels like a game sometimes. The audio design is spectacular. I really like the Last of Us show on HBO. It was probably the best video game show we've ever gotten, like hands down.
Well, the Druck is taking a lot of credit there because obviously Bruce Straley worked on The Last of Us. I appreciate Bruce Straley a lot, more so than Neil Druckmann. No, it's one of the, as I said before, it's one of the TV shows I want to watch very soon. It's on my list of things to do. I think the thing is though with The Last of Us, and like I'm kind of critical of The Last of Us because I don't like the part 2. I think it's a very very poor sequel and it's very very poorly developed and it's like a very much a 6 out of 10 game. If I'm being honest, I don't understand the critical acclaim. I think it's very poorly developed. Story is not very good at all. There's all kinds of issues, but it's not a Last of Us podcast. But anyway, on the point with like The Last of Us, I think people enjoy it because it's got a very easy premise. It's got a very simple premise. It's basically like The Walking Dead but refined. Like if you ever watched The Walking Dead, and I did for like 5 seasons before I bailed on it, because I was like, and everyone bails at The Walking Dead at some point. The Walking Dead had like 2 good episodes per season. Every other season was just full of filler episodes.
Yeah.
It was kind of like just loads of nonsense. But like The Last of Us is basically a streamlined version of The Walking Dead in terms of the story it's telling. It focuses on 2 characters mainly, and you kind of go through the world that you're in. It's not necessarily about what actually happened to the world. It's more about the people that are in it. So you have a very good foundation for it. You have a very simple premise with it. And for that, it's kind of like almost TV gold at that point. So I think like it's
I would say the
benefited.
stakes feel higher in the TV show.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I imagine the expectations that you subvert a bit from the video games, don't you? Because it's like you expect the producers to kind of change a couple of things here and there to kind of like make it a bit more TV savvy. So I think like it fits for it. I think like The Last of Us has always had that thing. Like the first Last of Us for me was like a good 7 out of 10 game or 8 out of 10 game, if I'm being honest. I wasn't raving about it. I don't think Naughty Dog's very good at gameplay, and I think like it was an okay story. But I think like for TV series adaptation wise, yeah, it's an easy adaptation for it, and I think that's why it's like worked
and
so
with
well.
Craig Mazin behind it, it was near perfect. Like it was really good, dude.
Which I recently rewatched Chernobyl, by the way, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like so
that's
good.
What I mean.
Like
think of Chernobyl, like that kind of storytelling, but with an already established IP. It's like a gold mine.
Yeah. Like Chernobyl was great. Like the only thing I had with that was the fact that they removed the accents. It was daft that they just talked normal English. It's like just put the accents on. And same with if you've watched the Napoleon trailer as well, they're not doing accents in that either. And I'm like,
well, it's kind of like Assassin's Creed Unity. Like it was supposed to be taking place in France, and they had British accents. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't like this kind of thing where it's like it's culturism or it's like appropriation.
And Ubisoft is a French company.
Like, I know
that's wild.
The irony. Oh, they're not Canadian.
No, they're French.
They're based in. Oh, they got studios in Quebec, haven't they? Yeah, they're based.
Yeah, they have studios like everywhere, but like it's based in France.
Yeah, it's French. Yeah, so I mean, the irony of this French publisher and studios doing that. It's annoying me because it's like just do the accents. It's like please, it's so much annoying. It's like even with that, it's like this really great historical piece, Chernobyl specifically. You're watching this really great historical piece, and all these Russians and Ukrainians characters that they're depicting aren't doing accents, and I'm like, what is this? It's like it's not English. It's not in the UK, the US, or in Europe and other parts of Europe. You're in Ukraine and Russia, where the story is being told mainly. So either way, good pick though.
Yes.
I don't know why I've been rambling on about what you picked for Spread the Hearts. It should have been my pick. My pick is very much easier, and it's going to be that you should play Oxenfree 2.
Oh yeah,
Lost Signals. Because we did a review, by the way, if you didn't know. I don't know if I mentioned this on this podcast. So we did a review on it. We did a spoiler cast. It's a great game. It's like cheap as chips. The first Oxenfree, as Adam has always told me, it's like I think it's currently on sale on the PlayStation Store for like $2.99 in the UK.
Yeah,
if not even cheaper. Like it's so cheap. I think if you have Netflix as well, you can play Oxenfree 2 for free because it's developed by Netflix phone, games. Yeah, so it's like it's easy game to play. It's great storytelling, great dialogue. I'm currently playing it again at the minute because I'm trying to get for my second playthrough and kind of pick up on things I didn't in the first one. We said in the review that it's like it was kind of hard to do that review there and then because we only did one playthrough. That game needs multiple playthroughs to really get an appreciation of it. And I think like if you have some time, you have Netflix or whatever else, pick it up, go and support it. Night School Studio is great for what they're doing. I hope they do another game of it. But thoroughly recommend it. And it's and as well, everyone knows as well, like if you play Life is Strange, you come here for the podcast. It's got such a all the like Life is Strange devs have played it. It's got a big influence from Life is Strange, among many other things as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets a reference in the Montreal game as well. I don't know. Luke said he wants to pick up at some point and play it, so hopefully he does. And yeah, definitely recommend it. Would completely recommend it. And by the way, Adam, as well, speaking of Luke, wasn't that picture of him with hair quite magnificent?
I guess so, yes. I would describe it as magnificent.
It was Magnus. I sent him a message back on Luke for any context as well. Luke's posted a picture of him as a young child, and he had hair. And I just messaged him saying, "It's like I refuse to believe that you ever had hair." And he started laughing. I was like, I just can't get over it. It's like you want when people have the staple. It's like if you show me a picture of yourself with like really like long blonde flowing locks, I'd be like, nah, that's not Adam.
No, I don't think I. Oh no, I did. I did have long skater hair at one point. Then I buzzed.
I refuse to believe it.
Yeah, I did.
You've always had the Heisenberg look for me.
Yeah, no, I used to have the long skater hair like down to here, but then I buzzed it all off for a prank, and then it never grew back the same. I was like,
oh damn.
Yeah, it sucked. But other than that, I would not recommend that. You know, not doing that.
Do you regret doing that?
Oh yeah, no, for sure I do, because again, I got to talk to so many people that they shaved their head after having a long cut, and they said, yeah, it never grew back the same. So if I didn't do that, I probably would still have long hair to this day. But you know, once you shave your head after having long hair, it doesn't grow back. Like not the same. And I'm just like, dang it. But it is what it is. I'm living with it.
No, it's quite interesting conversation getting to your 30s, because I'm in my 30s now and I've still got obviously like a lot of hair. It's currently tied back as it is. I could still grow it out quite long, but then I know people who I know who have had like hair transplants and stuff. And I'm like, if I was going bald, I'd just shave it off because I don't care about it. But it seems like some people it really like affects you, like appearance, physical, and not passing judgment or anything. For me, it's just more the sense that I have hair. And I kind of like, I'm gonna have it for like a long part of my life. My dad didn't have a receding hairline. Mum doesn't have a receding hairline, so it's like genetically we're on top in that category at least. But anyway, as I said, Oxenfree 2 is my recommendation. Go and check it out and go and play it. But yeah, we'll end the podcast here. Thank you so much for joining us as always. If you are on YouTube, please do consider dropping us a subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, and share with your friends. Again, you help support our channel. We see a big uptick on our YouTube content, so thank you very much. And also people who comment on their videos as well, thank you so much as well. And also StrangeCast is available on all your podcast services, so you can check us out on Spotify with a video version, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, even Stitcher. Stitcher goes next month if you are on Stitcher somehow, but as I said, every service we're available on there. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back for the next episode, which will be episode 50 in August. Until then, take care. See you later.
Bye.